usually it's the internal kind of judgment we have when we make that mistake, but it's got to be hard when so much is invested in where you stand. And I think what I've learned from you already just in these few months is that you're saying, be able to look neutrally at what everything you own is doing. And if you are seeing signs of something, don't start to get beat up yourself up. Just be like, oh, I have to let this go.
As I mentioned in the introduction, we've got a interesting episode. We're going to kind of go a little rapid fire today, but it's a simple topic. But I think this is a actually very interesting topic, and it's something that I joke a lot about on social media. It's the world we live in, this quote unquote outrage culture. But what that does is I actually got 3 or 4 real world trade opportunities out of this situation. And these are in real stocks. That's what's kind of interesting. Even if you're out there, I know, many of the listeners are penny stock traders. And I tell you, one of the things we love about penny stocks are the inefficiencies. They move on news, they move on speculation, they move on rumor. But maybe you're out there and maybe you don't like the crazy $1 stocks or the 10-cent stocks, et cetera. If you're willing to be patient, and many of you are probably part-time traders, you can wait for these opportunities because they smack you in the face. It's so obvious. So I've got Kim back here, and we're gonna because again, one of these things one of the points I want to make is being a free thinker and thinking for yourself, and not, whether it be mainstream media or whether it be social media, be a free thinker. I think that's one of the biggest reasons that a lot of traders fail is they try and follow other people or they follow the media, etc. So what I'd like to start with is actually Peloton. So this is very timely as we go into the Christmas season. And actually, I don't know if you can see it. This is one of those situations where I'm sure Kim will appreciate this, but as much as I mock the outrage culture, I don't lose my mind on social media. When I see something that upsets me, I don't send a bunch of tweets. I put my money where my mouth is. So I'm actually kind of sweaty because I just got off of my Peloton, and you may laugh, Kim may laugh, the listener may laugh, but about 75 or 80% of my purchasing decision was based on the fact that people lost their minds about this commercial. So,
wow, that's hilarious. I mean, as soon as I saw the commercial, I knew that was somebody got fired probably for that. Because
so now again, were you offended by this commercial, or were you just like, man, people are going to lose their minds over this?
I knew people were going to lose their mind. I knew women we were going to lose our minds because the concept, for a long time we've had this getting a vacuum cleaner for our birthdays or getting an iron or a washing machine. And it just felt like it was in that same genre. I just thought that is not a good ad. So I didn't feel offended, but I thought if that was my husband, that would not have been good for him.
So I'm guessing by the time this airs, I'm sure everyone will have seen it. But explain the episode. What happens in this commercial?
What happens in this commercial is that the husband gives to the wife a Peloton bike, and her face expresses just like the gratitude that a woman would give if she just received a diamond necklace. and I have to tell you, like, that there's a subtle innuendo there, like, maybe it's time for you to get in shape, honey.
See, and that's why I'm excited to talk about this, because again, what I see first of all, the bike is it's expensive as a freaking diamond necklace. Number one, I mean, they're not cheap. But my point was, and I agree with your reaction, but what if she'd been dropping hints for 6 months that she wanted this exercise?
If she then what a wonderful, sensitive, in tune husband he is.
See, you didn't know? It's only a 30-second commercial. How much can you fit in a 30-second commercial?
However, give it to her outside of the Christmas holiday. Give it to her on a Thursday at 3:00 in the afternoon. But for Christmas, you get her something in a beautiful red box like Cartier.
Okay, well, I need to do my Christmas shopping yet, so maybe I should
definitely go the red box. One of my favorite characters from television is Will and Grace was Karen. Do you remember? Did you ever see Will and Grace?
I do remember. My wife really liked it. Actually, my mom really liked the show, and I remember the show.
It was a hilarious show, but always who stole the scene was this woman Karen, and she used to.
She's the really loud one.
The really loud, bodacious one, drinking martinis at 2:00 or 10:00 in the morning and taking some pills. And one of her comments about Christmas, she's like, "Christmas, my favorite holiday, the day my Lord and Savior Cartier was born." So go with the red box or the blue box, Tiffany's, but don't get the Peloton for the wife. But you getting it for yourself is a whole nother level. It's just the time of year. But anyways, it's still, I think your point about it, and this is good for me because I'm just starting out to start look at what companies are doing and getting a vibe for the market for me to, start to get trained as a trader. So this is a fascinating story. When I did see the ad, I thought, oh, that's not going to do well. But now, of course, it is doing well. So I'm curious.
So what we have, so now we've talked about the idea. Let's talk about the mechanics. So what you have with Peloton is a recent IPO. Okay, this stock went public a couple months ago. And IPOs have been hot. I mean, this market is like the .com boom. If Kim was around, I was around. If you, the listener, weren't around, I mean, there were so many IPOs that just went nuts. And I think what's different now, back in the .com boom, is they were all these pie in the sky websites that some of them, I mean, 90% of them aren't around anymore. What's different about Peloton? They have a real business model. I mean that bike is, you see them everywhere. I stayed at the TWA hotel. They had like 30 of them in there.
Wow. How much is that bike, by the way?
Oh, they're $2,000. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Plus a monthly fee.
And it doesn't go on the road.
From a business standpoint, that's what I love. Number one, they get you high margin up front. I mean, the bike's nice, but I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, they're making some good money on this bike. And plus it's a recurring revenue thing. And the neat thing, again, I just wrote it for the first time. It literally got delivered this morning. It's fun. Instructor, it's a really cool, fun experience. So you've got a recent IPO. Yep. You've got a insane market, again, depending, this episode will air in about a week, but today market stock all-time highs again. So you've got that fervor, that animal spirits. Everyone's looking for the next hot stock.
Yeah.
Peloton went nuts right out of the gate, was spiking. Now you get this commercial that tanks the stock 10%.
But it gave them so much exposure. I mean, I wasn't paying attention to Peloton before that commercial. And now everybody is talking about it. Everybody's talking about the commercial. Everybody's talking, what was the gentleman's name you just named?
Ryan Reynolds.
Yep. Ryan Reynolds hired the actress from the Peloton ad to sit with, is it his tequila or his vodka? Gin?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate gin. But anyway, he's like genius because the popularity of that woman's face in that commercial now, it's like she is the character women can empathize with. And we see her now in the gin. And now I bet anyway, it was just, and what do they say? There's all publicity. There's no bad publicity.
Yep. And that's what I'm getting at is because now stock off 10%. Okay. I mean, I don't know what their market cap is. I mean, it's probably hundreds of millions of dollars, but here's the thing. Nothing in the business changed. I mean, their business model didn't change because of this commercial. You
Right.
know, the bikes didn't start exploding and burning people's hair off because of this commercial.
Right.
You know, nothing changed. And just like you said, everyone knows. I mean, my mom probably had no idea what Peloton was a week ago. Now I could probably ask her and she'd be like, oh, that was that one with that commercial. Doesn't mean she bought it.
Right.
But what if someone was like, hey, that thing, look, you know, when you go to the website, also sell one, you know.
You may not agree with the commercial or the premise of giving your wife a exercise bike, but the point is, if you're looking for a bike, you're going to now consider them because you've heard of them.
Front of your mind now.
Correct.
You know? Are you buying a, you know, I've actually got a Schwinn that I'm going to sell, an Airdyne, you know, are you going to buy a Nordic track? You know, you're going to Google Peloton and you're going to end up there.
Totally.
And then actually, do you see the reply commercial with the husband?
No. Oh, no, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, they so like a few days ago, they actually did one, and they did it great because they've got the bike. The wife is there. She's like holding a cup of coffee, and she's like being this very like judgmental look.
Is it the same wife? Is it the same wife?
No, different couple.
Okay,
different couple.
Okay.
And the husband's like got his gym bag and he's like going to the gym and she's like staring at him. And then here's this Peloton. He sets down his gym bag and he's so happy. So it's like they got it out where, and she's like looking at him all like judgmental and he's in shape too, you know, because that was part of the backlash.
Yeah.
Everyone lost their mind because she was in shape already. But my point is, again, what if she was tired of going to the gym? What if she wants to work out at home? And what if she just wants to maintain her fitness?
All wonderful.
From gadget.
Give it to her on a Thursday afternoon at 2:00. That's
Thursday after Christmas Eve.
Not Christmas Eve. Not birthday. Not anniversary. You're going to be golden. But anything outside those windows is the safety zone for men with these gifts to women. And still, then, be sure she's begging for it. Like, she just might be testing to see if you think she's a little overweight. And you can just sit right into the trap. Don't fall into the trap. Do I look fat in this dress? The answer is always no, honey. You look beautiful.
So anyway, I want to move on to the next one. But sure enough, Peloton's all the way back. You know, so it bounced all the way back. So, you know, and again, what I want you to do is, you know, because again, Kim's in training as the mechanics of trading, but you, the listener, I mean, these things happen again and again and again. And I'm not saying every time stock drops on bad news, you buy it.
Right.
But
the mob rule. Don't listen to the mob rule.
Exactly.
And think for yourself. And ask yourself, okay, did somebody get injured? Is this publicity maybe going to be negative, but still help get name out there? Like, just think for yourself and don't just follow the masses, which is kind of like what the masses always do. The masses always just.
That's why 90% fail. That's why 90% fail, because they follow the TV picks or they follow the crowd.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, if anything, maybe see the fact that you know, publicity was kind of bad and think, oh, probably people will short this now, but I'm actually going to buy because no doubt it's going to come back if their process hasn't changed, if their business plan hasn't changed. So you want us to think like this.
And I love that point because now, sure enough, you've got and actually Citron Research, which is a large short seller. He's Andrew Left. You could Google him. He's been around for a long time. He actually took a short position in this, and people follow him. A lot of people follow him on Twitter and stuff. So now you've got these trap short sellers, which can create fuel to the upside. So, wow. I mean, we'll see when this airs, but I would be baffled I would be shocked if Peloton wasn't at all-time highs. I mean, it is today. And when this airs a week from now, or if you listen to it from a month from now, I think I'd be amazed if it wasn't an all-time high.
Were you paying attention to Peloton before yourself?
I was intrigued by it because I'm a nerd. I mean, you know, I'm a gadget guy.
And a physical fitness guy.
Exactly. So like I even, you know, and again, I bought another very similar gadget called Fight Camp.
Okay.
And so you've got these little trackers in your boxing gloves, and it's got an app again, and it's a boxing coach, and he's teaching you the workout as well as the technique. And
Cool.
that's the kind of stuff I love because I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So, I could go, I've always wanted to take boxing lessons. It's an hour and a half drive.
Totally.
So it's like, that hour and a half drive plus an hour lesson, plus an hour and a half drive back. I mean, it's like
day.
4 hours,
Yeah,
and I'm going to do that twice a week. I mean, I don't have time.
No.
So I was interested in it just because I was a geek and it was an IPO. So, I mean, I'm always watching these IPOs and IPOs have been hot.
Totally.
So.
What was the other one you were talking about this morning?
So the other one is, very similar situation in Tesla. So, many of you listeners might be familiar with, obviously.
The ugly car.
Yes. Yep. Well, the truck, the cars are beautiful.
Ugly truck.
Yeah. But I mean, I want to go back. Stock did take on the ugly truck and came all the way back. But many of the listeners, I mean, all the listeners by now probably know my ridiculous man crush on Joe Rogan. And many of you might remember when Elon, roughly a year ago,
yes.
He was on Joe Rogan, was an incredible podcast. I mean, that dude, I read the book. There's a great book on Elon. I'll have it linked.
Yeah. It's a bio, right?
Yep. From 2 years ago or so.
Yeah.
So I've always been an Elon Musk fan. I mean, I grew up an Apple guy, so he always reminds me of Steve Jobs. And sure enough, a great podcast, by the way, with Joe Rogan. But, and here's the thing. They're drinking whiskey the whole time. Nobody cares. No outrage, no nothing.
Yep.
Doing shots of whiskey. Whiskey can kill you if you drink that whole bottle. If you drink the whole bottle, you die right there on the Joe Rogan podcast. But then they spark a joint and everyone loses their mind. The stock, I mean, there was like $1 billion in market cap comes off of the stock.
Jeez.
It's the same idea. What changed?
Yeah.
If anything, Elon would probably smoke a little and come up with more ideas.
Exactly. I would say let him get high if that helps him get access to his creativity.
And, and sure enough, again, the stock tanks, and literally yesterday it hit or not all-time highs, but I mean, we're just a few points from all-time highs. I mean, that was a same situation. Everybody wanted to short the stock. Everybody said it was going, it was getting destroyed. Meanwhile, one joint, and he took like 2 hits.
Yeah.
And again, I don't smoke dope. I mean, but I don't.
It's just the middle America mob. Yeah. It's the mob mentality. And
exactly.
But I think what I'm hearing from you is be aware of what that mob mentality is. Like, how does the concept of the mob mentality react to that? And then there is an opportunity. If that's how they're going to react, how do you react so that you are ahead of the curve of what that makes sense?
And that's again, whether it be a penny stock or a real stock, I just want you to, to think for yourself. I mean, again, I'm not quite sold on the truck. It's I don't know, but the cars, I mean, the cars are beautiful, and you get that P100D, it does 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds, and everybody says it's like a spaceship, and it's like, this is amazing technology. Yeah. And we're in inning 1. I mean, it's
I'm so confused by that truck because the aesthetic of the Tesla is so elegant that it's like, what happened? How can you have that kind of an elegant product and then put forward that kind of a, Mad Max in the future type? That's what it feels like. It feels like a Mad Max truck.
I tell you, it grew on me. When I first saw it, I was like, what? And the more I see it, it's growing on me.
Interesting.
And
is he
again,
saying it's a Mad Max truck? Is he saying it's for the Armageddon? Where is
I don't even know, to be honest with you. I think, the glass was supposed to be bulletproof, but it broke. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's just supposed to be a utility vehicle, and he chose to make it look like that.
Okay, fascinating.
But I mean, I also think, I remember when people hated the first iPhone. Touch screen. Oh, this is stupid. Oh yeah, yep.
Interesting.
And because no one had really done it that way, where there was no keypad. People were like,
right. I liked my flip phone. I still to this day, that Razor flip. Oh my God, it was blue. It was so beautiful. It just had that feeling of completion when you closed it.
Well, yeah, that was always the nice part. Like when you were mad at someone, you could snap it shut. You know, it was very satisfying.
Very
you know?
sexy, Larry.
You know, and another thing back to, you know, bias, and this is what, you know, this is why I wanted to talk to you about this topic today is, so there is this whole, and this is the things you'll learn about the madness of social media and stocks particularly. So there's this whole contingent, thousands of people that will post about Tesla Q, okay? So when a ticker gets a Q on the end, it means it's bankrupt, okay? So the stock has gone bankrupt. So there's thousands of these loons out there that thinks Tesla's going to go bankrupt, et cetera. So they'll post the ticker with a Q on the end over and over and over again. And because they think, oh, you know, Tesla's a scam, you know, it's a joke, they're going out of business. Most of these guys are short the stock. Wow. They're all losing money. I mean, you can't make money when the stock's at all-time highs if you're short. No. And then this is where the madness comes in. So they actually, and this is where, again, the bias, they share block lists, okay, on Twitter, okay. What will happen is, like, I'm blocked by like 100 people. I don't even know who they are because I'll post positive Tesla stuff. And what they do, they block you, and then they put you on a list, and all of the other ones block you.
Wow.
So it's this
bullying.
Echo chamber. Echo chamber.
Yeah, echo chamber. That's the perfect word. But that's happening in every, I know we're going to just talk about stock today, but it's happening in every arena. Like, God forbid you say one thing that doesn't, you know, some group doesn't agree with, and then they just want to shut you down. And it's, I just think it's so bad for discord. Like, we have to talk to people who we don't agree with so we can hear their point of view and vice versa. That's too bad.
And great point. And in my opinion, and I like, you know, I think one of the reasons we get along so well is we're both very open-minded to any idea. I mean, you can come at me with some political or religious idea, whatever it is. I'm not going to get mad at you. I might be like, well, I don't know about that, Kim, but I'm not going to get mad at you.
But like, so why can't we disagree? Agree to disagree. I like to have that conversation and pull it apart. It makes me stronger in my beliefs, or it makes me question them, and hopefully the same for, you know, the person you're in dialogue with.
See, and that's where I think so many people, and this is where we're going to kind of bring it back to trading, so many people back to that ego and having to be right. You know, I mean, listen, I saw a Wall Street Journal article the other day where, like, this family, we could probably link it below.
Yeah.
This family, over some political meme on Facebook, these sisters hate each other and their families won't go to Christmas together anymore. I mean, and my point is, I mean, that's better, but think about if you took that kind of mentality, you're trading. Okay. So now you're in a losing position.
Yep.
And you have that same type of mindset where you hate, I mean, these women were like 60 years old.
God.
Hate your sister on your 60th birthday because of politics. And in my mind, if you're in a losing position and you have that same type of mindset, good luck cutting that loser. You know, good luck.
You're not because your ego is attached to being right.
Yep.
And that attachment, I mean, I think the understandable physiology, our biology, our ego does want to be right because that's how it probably survives so many things. But if we now are still attached, even when you're losing or even when you're not having your own sister come to your party, like one of the quotes, I'll send it to you. Yeah. We'll link it in the show notes. One of the quotes was, "I went on the warpath." You know, oh my
against her on Facebook, you know. Yeah, and that was her quote. And again, that's where I'm going to call this, you know, episode "How to Profit from Outrage." But again, think if she was a trader, and she was so married to a position, long or short, you know, and I mean, that kind of mindset where she's really willing to burn down a 60-year relationship with her sister.
Okay.
Is she going to be able to, you know, think rationally when this trade starts going against her?
No
way.
That's why I think trading has so much to do with like the journey of enlightenment, because if you can notice that, wow, I'm really attached to this, be curious about that attachment. What is it? Is it because you feel like that makes you wrong now? Like usually it's the internal kind of judgment we have when we make that mistake, but it's got to be hard when so much is invested in where you stand. And I think what I've learned from you already just in these few months is that you're saying be able to look neutrally at what everything you own is doing. And if you are seeing signs of something, don't start to beat yourself up. Just be like, oh, I have to let this go.
You're wrong.
Cut it
happens
loose.
every day, especially in trading. I mean, again, if you're a new listener to the podcast, definitely check out Kim's bio. But I mean, she's interviewed some of the most successful traders ever. These guys are they're wrong on a routine basis, But one of the reasons they're where they are is they were willing to be wrong. I mean, they started out 40 years ago and were still holding the same losing position, they wouldn't be in Kim's book.
That's right. That's awesome. Was there another stock that you were
No, that was it for, that was kind of what I wanted to talk about today. And, this is kind of like I mentioned in the beginning, a little bit of a rapid fire episode. We'll have Stephen back next week, and we've got a bunch of big plans for 2020. But, the two biggest takeaways I want, you, Kim, as well as the listener is, listen, if you don't want to trade the crazy penny stocks, there is opportunity, whether or not you agree with two sisters never speaking to each other again over a political meme, there's profit, there's opportunity in that world we live in, that people are willing to lose their minds. I mean, again, Nike was another one. Wherever you come down,
that's right.
Again, wherever. Obviously, most of you probably know where I come down on the Colin Kaepernick thing.
I'm all for Colin. Go Colin. Black Lives Matter.
But the simple fact is, I mean, Nike tanked. Guess what? Stocks at all-time highs right now. Yep. Nike. Yep. So that's
but even if you don't agree, is what I'm hearing is like, I might not like the idea of a husband giving his wife a Peloton, but if I can get myself out of that emotion and look at the concept of what's about to take place, the mob's going to respond a certain way. There's really still a good business here. Maybe that, so maybe even if you are triggered, let that be an indicator for you that there might be an opportunity against what you think or for what you think, but don't necessarily get sucked up in the emotional reaction.
And listen, you might hate the commercial or you might hate Elon smoking weed, but I also I really like $500 or $1,000 or a couple $1,000 in my pocket, and let Elon smoke weed or let people get mad that he gave her a Peloton. Even if they don't get her the necklace and they give it to her on Christmas.
Or the bracelet, or a ring, or earrings, actually. Any of the above.
So depending on when this episode airs, you can drop a comment below. What's your Christmas present?
What's your Christmas present to your wonderful wife?
Exercise equipment or is it jewelry? So which side do you come down on? So.
Jewelry matters.
All right. As always, I would like to thank everyone for listening. A quick episode was a fun one, and I think there's opportunity there, and every day, especially again, if you're a part-time trader, I say, I joke about this all the time. I don't know who won the football last night. I don't know who's playing basketball. I don't know what the Kardashians did, but I always know what's going on in the trading world. And listen, if you're listening to this podcast, you want to learn to trade, you want to, make some money or maybe go full-time someday, limit your inputs and focus on things that can potentially make you money. And this Peloton news, this Tesla news is that. So, and as always, if you are listening on iTunes, remember, jump over to SteadyTrade.com. We'll link charts, we'll link the books, we'll link the articles that we mentioned in these. So if you're curious, when we drop these things, the cool thing is on SteadyTrade.com we have everything linked.
That concludes this episode of the Steady Trade Podcast. And as usual, if you have any questions, concerns, or recommendations for us, please check us out at SteadyTrade.com, where we actually post transcripts of the episode and recap blog posts of the episode. It's a great resource if you're looking to expand your trading and get a more immersive experience from the Steady Trade Podcast.